What are you doing?
I don't know. You said to hum. I'm humming, man. I'm like,
What is
I'm
that?
I'm humming with everything I got.
Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Digicast, everyone.
So you're taking such a huge shit.
I'm here with Jacob Albrand, as you can hear.
Okay. All right. That was our attempt to be festive and whatever that's called, relevant. Relevant. That's the word. The thing that Digicades has not been this year, according to some people. So yeah.
Yeah.
We really don't have much to talk about this week, and again, we do apologize. Nathaniel is busy today. He was actually doing his ROM hack charity stream.
Yeah.
And we tried to work around that, and I don't really think any of us had an open schedule to record a different day. Usually we do these on Sundays. So we were just like, you know what? We'll just do one without Nathaniel again this week. No biggie. This is actually going to be our last one for the year, though, because as you all know, Christmas is on a Sunday this year. So we normally record on Sunday. We're like, you know what? Let's take the week off, recoup. We'll be back in the new year. So, yeah.
Yes. And it's a little more acceptable that Nathaniel is doing that charity stream. I mean, college finals, that's one thing. But when you're raising money for the kids, that's a little more acceptable in my book. So
yeah, it's for the you don't need to further your own education. You just need to help out others. That's really what it comes down to.
Children. So yeah,
you're a selfish piece of shit if you try to pass your college exams by not recording a Digicast. And this is giving. You should be giving out to our viewers because this should be more fulfilling than passing your exams. This is basically my charity stream right here. Is I'm giving you all free entertainment.
That's right.
So there.
That's right. With some advertisements.
I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel bad. Yes, with I do benefit slightly from this. I do make a little bit from this, and I don't donate it to charity, so that makes me just as good as Nathaniel. Anyway.
So hey, so this being the last podcast of 2016, Jacob, I asked you and Nathaniel this on Skype previously, but do you have...
is this going where I think it's going?
Do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2017?
Oh, I thought this was going to be a hot segue into one of our topics. I don't really have... as far as New Year's resolutions go, I really never make any, but I guess this year if I'm going to make one, it's going to say... are going to be more consistent on YouTube. I have a clear direction where I want to take the channel now, so I want to be smarter about that and actually be mildly successful on this platform again.
Mildly successful.
So whether that's not a New Year's resolution or not, that was an awful way to formulate a sentence, by the way. I apologize. Whether or not you think that's a New Year's resolution, I don't really care. That's my goal. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, alrighty.
What about you? You got something?
I want to get the game that I'm developing to an alpha stage where it's actually start to finish playable. Maybe some bugs, maybe a few missing features, but I want to get that thing like
there we go.
I want people to be playtesting it by the end of next year, like actively, and that's where I want to get that.
Well, you do have a mildly decent sized audience here that will probably playtest for you. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's maybe up to you. I don't want to put you on the spot live here on the air and make you feel like a piece of shit for not giving a free game out to your subscribers. But, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how angry people would be with me if I did early access or something. But I don't know. Maybe people could let me know. Who knows?
If you charged $50 for your early access game, I don't think anyone would have a problem with it.
$50 that's probably not going to be that high, but
yeah, I think $50 for an early access game, and then you can charge them for the full game again, even if they bought the early access version. I think people would be fine with that. I really think that people would be okay with that.
By the way,
I mean, that's my business advice. You can take it if you want, but you don't have to.
I haven't decided what I'm going to do with all of that. Since this is the last podcast of the year, by the way, everyone, I want to let you know we're going to be answering as many questions as possible. We have a lot left in the queue that we got to get through before this thing is over. First, we're going to talk about Super
Yeah.
Mario Run, and we're also going to talk about, I guess, whatever our game of the year is.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I don't
Oh, we're gonna
even.
lay it all out for you. All out for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So let's get into it. I guess let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's blow this
I mean,
popsicle stand, bruh.
I'm ready to start. So
I'm ready to throw my opinions at you.
let's get rolling.
Oh, okay. Should I start or you? I'm ready to roll it on you, boy.
I'm still trying to actually just get started, but we can talk about Super Mario Run. So, I played Super Mario Run for like several hours the past few days, and I really like it. And it's really surprising because I thought that there's no way that it was going to happen. I've never liked an endless runner. I've never really liked mobile games at all, like in general. I play Pokemon Go a bit, but I'm not really like I don't like I'm not like crazy about Pokemon Go. It's not something that is when I think of the games that I love, I don't think of Pokemon Go. It's just something that I do for the sake of
I know I don't think of Pokemon Go. I
doing it.
barely even played it.
Yeah, and it's in many ways Pokemon Go is not really like a legitimate game. I don't know, like the mechanics are so ridiculously simple that I don't even
Yeah,
think of it
it's
that
just
way.
more of an experience. I wouldn't. It's kind of like Miitomo. I mean, Miitomo's a platform
Yeah.
that you talk with. I mean, it's just more social media. It's interactive social media, and Pokemon Go is more like just it's just augmented reality.
It
I
feels
mean, I guess it's a game, but
it feels more
yeah.
like a UI, and honestly, I never used the augmented
Yeah,
reality. I used the augmented reality for like 5 seconds on day one, and then I was done with it. But Super Mario
I think
Run
the
is
one
an
time I
actual
did it, the
game.
one time I did it. Oh yeah, Mario Run's actually a game, but the one time I did the augmented reality, I was laying in a bedroom and there was a Weedle on my dick,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's funny, and then I stopped using it. So
Hmm.
my experience with Pokemon Go was very limited because I really just didn't care that much. I mean, it was cool, but Pokemon as a franchise, I'm just bored with. I mean, it's really neat, and I liked seeing the craze around it, but it just wasn't something I was really that into.
Yeah.
Sadly, aside from Dick Weedle, I really didn't do much with it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
If I had
yeah.
an actual DS, I would probably play Sun and Moon. I honestly, I mean, but I
Do you
I
not have a
just
3DS?
I don't. No. I totally don't.
Oh my god,
Mm-mm.
dude! There's so many good 3DS games.
It's funny. I have a Wii U. I don't have a 3DS. Isn't that weird? It's really weird.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
But hey, to each his own. I'm not gonna refer to you as a dipshit the rest of the podcast, but I may be thinking that. I just
Mm.
wanted to let you know.
Mm.
I just thought you should know my true feelings.
So you played
But anyway.
Mario Run and you had sound problems. Did you ever work out your sound
Oh
issues,
my
Jacob?
god. Yeah, okay, the day it launched, I tried. So in the store we have, obviously the demo iPhones, and then we have a few iPads. I think I ended up trying it on about 4 or 5 different Apple devices. None of the sound was working. So I was like, there's no way that this app is just broken the day it comes out and doesn't work on 5 separate Apple devices. There's no way this is happening. But no, that's what happened. And I tried reinstalling it multiple times. Obviously, I checked the do not disturb button to see if that was on all the devices. It was never on. I went into the sound settings. I did everything I could. Like, obviously cleared out the RAM on the iPhones and iPads. Literally did everything. So, like, a couple days later, I don't know if they patched it or something, but I just reinstalled it, and it worked. So, I finally got to play Super Mario Run with the sound on, which sound for me is, like, very important in a game. So, that's half the experience in my eyes is awesome sound and fun music.
I think
So,
in the case of this game, the sound is important. I
yeah,
I think
because
it's
it's
the
an endless
feedback.
runner, so it kind of
Yeah.
times up. Yeah, the sound feedback is very important here. So yeah, I finally got to play it, and I was playing it on an iPad that I use at work to kind of organize documents and files and things for sales, and designs. So I was like, this is really fun. It's so simplistic, and Nintendo are the masters of simplicity. I never really once doubted them with this game. The only thing I don't like about it is the always online thing. The DRM is just so needless, I feel, in this game. But in my case, I haven't had to experience that yet. I am an Android user, so that's really the only place I've been playing it is at work and with other customers. Um, so I really haven't run into that yet, but I can definitely see where that is going to be an issue for some people. So I think I read somewhere that it uses like 75 megabytes of data for like a 10-minute play session or something like that, which for some people, that's a lot.
That is a
For
lot.
others
Yeah,
with
that's
yeah, for
surprising.
some people with unlimited data like Scott, it's fine. But but for a lot of people that's gonna cause an issue. But hopefully Nintendo can just patch that out. I mean that's the only issue I have with the game. Everything else is fun. It is simple. It is just I'm not gonna say it's mindless running because there's a lot of technique you have to apply when you're playing it. I mean I've only been playing the free version, but I have unlocked everything that I can up until that point. I've collected every single colored coin I can. I'm addicted to that game. I just haven't actually bought it yet because I'm kind of waiting until it comes to Android before I officially buy it and make it my version. But no, I've been doing the Toad Rally. I've been doing the Kingdom Builder. I've completely finished the World Tour, like the very first world, because that's the only free thing. It's fun. It is a fun mobile game.
It really is.
I got to give it to Nintendo.
It's surprising.
It is a stellar experience on a mobile device. It's so much fun.
Yeah. When I got to, like, I don't know, it was probably like the 7th or the 8th level in World Tour, the night of the release, and I was playing it, I kind of just sat back and like looked up and like I think I had managed to pass like half an hour to 45 minutes or something, and I kind of looked around for a second and I was like, wow, this is shocking how ridiculously fun this is. And
Nintendo has like sucked you into their world of liking mobile games.
And then the next day, I managed to pass like 3 hours straight. And I talked to Nathaniel about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I just played for like 3 or 4 hours." And it's just like, wow, this is insane because I've never ever played a mobile game that I just poured that much. Like
it's like a sick parallel world.
It's crazy. It's just nuts. It's nutty. And I remember like Fruit Ninja and Jetpack Joyride and stuff, like whenever those were first rolling around, and I played those here and there. They were they're decent little phone games, but not like this. I mean, this was something. It's just something else. It's really really ridiculous. And I
was
talked
it something magical. It would touch you in ways you hadn't been touched before, Scott.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I just released a Gamefinity video on this. And I don't think I talked about. You know what? When you just said that distracted my train of thought. I'm gonna have to come back to what I was saying now. Thanks
so sorry.
I just you started talking about touching me in ways I haven't been touched before, and I totally lost it. Never mind.
I have that effect on people. I really do.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry.
Here's kind of what I was
I'm not sorry.
Say.
Because I meant what I said.
I think what I was going to say is that they, or I did talk about this a little bit in the video actually, but I was going to say that they talk about playing this game with one hand. I never did. And this is definitely not something that you want to play behind the wheel of a car.
Oh my God.
It takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of energy and intensity because it's a legitimate game. That's the thing about it, is that it requires actual skill to be really, really great at the game and to collect everything and to go full completionist with it, or to compete in Toad Rally and all that stuff. There's a lot to it, and it's just anyway. I think the audience probably gets the idea, but I like the game, and I'm shocked.
I knew that I'd enjoy it, but I honestly didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I am. It is very addicting, and I've never been like a massive fan of Endless Runners, but I've always liked stuff like Bit Trip. I mean, I love Bit Trip Runner a lot, and the Sonic Runners game. I mean, it was fun. It was a good time waster, and stuff like Jetpack Joyride kind of always had the same effect. I've always enjoyed it, but Super Mario Run nailed it. I mean, they nailed it.
It
feels so good.
I've never liked Endless Runners ever. I've always thought that they were really dumb, and that's why I was expecting to pick this up and think that it was kind of dumb, but I didn't. And only Nintendo could probably do that, I guess.
Only Nintendo.
Only Nintendo.
Hey, I'm very happy to say that because in a year where they have had some mediocre releases, we'll say, to a point, I'm happy that Super Mario Run is something that came out and a lot of people seem to be enjoying it and liking it. Playing it in the store with people has been a blast. I mainly loaded it up on an iPad so I could do that with people. Like when they come in and I'm talking to them about devices and things, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to play Super Mario Run?" And they're like, "Holy shit, that's out!" And I'm like, "Yeah." And that's been really weird and almost kind of surreal because a lot of people probably haven't played Mario in 10 years and they're
Yeah.
looking at this game, they're like, "Holy shit, this is really fun."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Cool, yeah, you should buy an iPad while you're at it." So,
People
yeah.
people have dropped Mario. A lot of people. I mean, I know you've talked about Mario being dead and all that, and that you think that it's a dying franchise or whatever. I guess I don't really think that, but I do think that the vast majority of people who like grew up with Mario kind of have most of those people at this point, especially older people, have walked away from Mario, and now that it's back on mobile and everyone has that mobile device, or everyone has uh not everyone has iPhones, of course, and we are looking forward to the Android. That's another thing, is that I haven't checked right before we started recording, but as far as the Android release is concerned, as far as I know, Nintendo has, and this may or may not be accurate, but I think Nintendo has said that they are planning on doing an Android release. It's going to be sometime next year, but they haven't said when. Is that right? Or have we looked?
I really haven't looked, but I just assume that that would be how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, if they don't come out with it in a timely manner, then I guess that I will just go ahead and buy it on the iPad I use at work and just play it there on my downtime or continuously just play it with customers and stuff. But I really want this on my phone. I do really want this game. It is so much fun, even with the DRM bullshit.
Yeah.
It's still a really pleasant experience.
Well,
I just hope that they do patch that out.
because this was made in the Unity engine, it really should not take them long to do an Android release. The only thing they should
Oh no.
really need to do for an Android release is maybe gear up for one more little mini marketing campaign for it, just to and I don't know what kind of deal they've had with Apple for exclusivity or anything like that. There probably is something fairly substantial there, but I would be willing to bet that the Android release is something they've already tested. They're already basically ready to go with it, because Unity is practically point and click for like porting over to that other platform, especially when it comes to iOS and Android. That's what Unity is actually like best for, and what
Yeah.
even big companies will go to the Unity game engine for doing mobile games. So it's probably already ready to go. It's probably just a matter of whatever agreement they have with Apple and whatever they want to do to market that Android release. So I'm interested to see when we're going to get some additional details about that. But
So how many generic toads out of 10 would you give this game?
generic toads out of 10. Oh, and that's another thing. I'm trying to catch up to Nathaniel Bandy right now to beat him with the number of toads I have on Kingdom Builder. I'm still working up to that. I probably shouldn't even say that, because then he'll like make sure that I never catch up to him. But I'm working on that. Generic toads out of 10. I would give the game probably a 7. There's a few things. There's a few negatives about it. I think the requirement to be online is probably a negative. I think they could have done some kind of real time multiplayer with this, and that's a little bit of a missed opportunity. The fact that they reused the art assets, it's a little bit of a drawback for me. They didn't really push to do visuals and stuff. It does, even though it is a high quality game and it's got some brilliant design in it in certain places. um it does still feel kind of rushed, just because of how much stuff they reused. I mean, they reused a lot, and there's parts of this
Oh, this is
where
basically new Super Mario Brothers dropped on an iPad. There's
totally,
nothing
yeah.
new. It's just
Absolutely.
that.
And it probably didn't take a whole long that long of a time for a few programmers to get together and put together the mechanics. I mean, the vast majority of the effort in this is probably just level design, and I'm not sure they probably, I mean, there's a fairly limited amount of content there. Those are about my only complaints, though. Maybe one
they
or two
they
other little things.
probably They probably spent more time on that marketing video where everyone was running around with Mario in New York and places like that than they did actually developing the game.
Yeah, no, and actually on that video,
that's my sting to Nintendo.
that video in New York, they probably spent more money on creating that video for the marketing than they budgeted for the development of the game. It would not surprise me, honestly. So it
just
does
creating that Unreal Engine 4 looking Mario probably costs more than the entire game did.
Yeah. But all that being
Honestly,
said,
though, seeing Mario in that high resolution always does kind of creep me out a little bit because he's so plasticky looking.
yeah,
But then his eyes are always so detailed, and it looks like he's just staring into my soul,
he is
wanting me to just be addicted to him again. And
He
I'm like,
is.
no, Mario, don't stop it! And I never succumb to his will. I haven't yet.
Yeah.
But I'm probably gonna get there because Mario Run is a damn fun game.
What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? I think overall it's good. I mean, that's my opinion.
I would give it 8 ungeneric rock paper wizards out of 10.
Nice.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
And they're all holding up 5s because it's 5 generic toads out of 5. Toadception. I don't really know where I was going with that. That was meant to be something funny, but it just wasn't, and my delivery was just terrible. So if you can forgive me and laugh at this shtick that I'm trying to do right now to save for what I was doing, that make me feel better. So thank you. I know, dude. I prepared. I wrote that while I was on the pooper earlier. So it was funny, wasn't it? I'm funny. I know, dude. Stop. You're making me feel too good. Thank you. Stop. Oh my God, this is too much. I just can't take this anymore. Well, that's. I mean, it's a fun game. 8 out of 10 for me. Honestly, with the DRM is kind of the only thing for me that I'm like, this is bullshit. Take this out, and it's 10 out of 10. It's a fun game. I do think it's a tad overpriced. I wish it was a little bit cheaper. And then the online multiplayer, I see where that could be a definitely missed opportunity, but it's not something I was like really clamoring for. But I agree with you. It would have been something nice to have.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was fun.
I think it was worth the $10 just because I've already put so much time into it, and I can see myself in the coming weeks. I'll probably be playing Mario Run on and off, like leading up to the Switch launch, and in just from that standpoint alone, I think it was worth the $10.
Well, because we've talked about Mario Run for almost 25 minutes, let's switch gears. That's something else I never thought we would do. We talked about that for almost 20-something minutes.
And it's a mobile game.
It's a mobile game. Mobile. We've spent more time on this than we have talking about Kingdom Hearts. I would like everyone to know that. Actually, we've probably talked more about this than Breath of the Wild. Not as a whole, but in any one sitting. We've definitely spent more time on this than that.
Speaking of Breath of the Wild, as I understand it, you're not feeling particularly excited about that lately.
I mean, honestly, ever since it was announced, I've never been like 100% Breath of the Wild guy. I mean, it looks fun, but I'm also just worried that the survival elements are just going to take over. That's kind of it. I mean, the game looks fun from what I see, but I worry about the world not being really all that full of life and there being too many survival elements for me to get into it. And I'm so into every other Zelda game for the most part. So this is just going to take time for me to get used to. I'm still getting the game, obviously, but I will need to kind of wrap my mindset around that. But it's Nintendo doing an open world game. I'm really interested to see that combination because they've never really done that. So that'll be neat. But I'm always been a mixed bag ever since this game got announced. It looks beautiful and the gameplay looks fun. It's just that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a very different Zelda game. I mean,
yeah, it's just gonna take time to get used to. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Although, like, when I think back to Ocarina of Time, when I was really, really young, and I was like just thinking about
when I was a young warthog.
No, but when I was thinking about like what I would like to see in future Zelda games, I thought about all this stuff that was like anything that would bring me deeper into that world in a more immersive way. That's what I wanted to see. If I could see any more out of that universe that made that universe even more lifelike. And of course, like back then I thought, oh, the N64 is so lifelike, like I thought it was so great. But I always imagined any other thing that I could do to experience that in a deeper, bigger way, or if I could explore more, and if the world was bigger, or if there was more stuff to do over on the side and that type of thing. That's always the stuff that I wanted to see. And anything that would bring me closer to that was like my dream for Zelda. And I feel like this game is just giving me everything that I dreamed about whenever I was a kid, essentially. Like, yeah, there's like an endurance meter and stuff, but that it doesn't really bother me, frankly.
So here's what I want them to do. I want them to go like full on survival. I want you to be able to have to pick up things, craft a toilet, and I want you to have to shit regularly. When is that going to be implemented? When? I don't think any video game's ever done that. Have they? I don't know. We need to go full on survival.
Well, first of all, I'm sure there have been plenty of games that have done that. There's a lot of games out there, Jacob.
Any reputable game, not the crap on Steam. There's got to be some reputable game out there that has done this. I hope. Maybe like Ark Survival Evolved. That's the only one I can think of. I really haven't played much of that.
Is
that
there
seems like a game that would
Ark Survival Evolved?
There may be. I don't know. That's the only game I can think of that would probably do it, because they do a lot of other interesting survival things. But I need to see Link drop his pants
does Ark Survival Evolved do anything close to pooping? Like similar in any way, or?
Probably.
I've never played it, but I mean...
So you're also first person in that game, and I want to see third person pooping.
Yeah.
If we have to make another rating for that that's beyond rated M, do it. Go the distance. As James Earl Jones has said, go the distance, brother. We need to make this happen. 2017, don't let me down.
Jacob.
Don't let me down.
What is your 2016 game of the year?
That was a masterful segue. Masterful. And ever since you mentioned that, I've really tried to think about it, but honestly, I played a lot more games that came out. Okay, I replayed a lot of games this year, and then I played a lot of games that came out in the past few years. I really didn't play a lot of new games this year because there's stuff out there that really intrigued me and I enjoyed, but there wasn't anything that I was just swooning over and flipping out, unless aside from Doom, Battlefield 1, and dare I say, Paper Mario Color Splash.
I knew that was coming. I was going to ask, would you give Game of the Year to Paper Mario Color Splash?
I don't. This is like a weird dystopian future parallel world that I'm in, where Super Mario Run is goddamn brilliant, and Paper Mario Color Splash is one of my Game of the Year contenders.
Yeah, I know, right?
What the hell? This does not work.
It's also funny because, like, if you were to go back and meet your past self would be, like, super pissed off at you right now.
Oh, absolutely. He would be very concerned about what I am possibly sniffing.
Yeah.
Another one, actually, this is a re-release, but another one would be Darksiders War Mastered Edition. Very, very criminally underrated franchise, and I may or may not be having a commentary coming out about that. Hint, hint. But for real, I'm gonna stick to mainly new games though. Color Splash, Battlefield 1, and Doom. All polished, all sensibly great experiences. Battlefield 1 has occupied hours upon hours of my time. Even just with this multiplayer, I really haven't played much of the single player campaign, but the multiplayer is so polished and wonderful. Yeah, there's some glitches in there, but like as far as the gameplay mechanics go, it's a fun game. Like I honestly think I'd have to give it to Battlefield 1. If Shantae Half Genie Hero was out, that would probably be in the running. I'm a massive Shantae fan, and I cannot wait for that game to come out, but it doesn't come out till the 27th for the Wii U. Hype as penis wank for that game. I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted it to be Star Fox Zero, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't make it Star Fox Zero.
No.
Unfortunately.
It just had
Yeah.
too many faults and problems, unfortunately. It
It
had
had
some
too much
promise.
George Lucas mentality shoved into it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Speaking of George Lucas, Rogue One, mwah, just
Don't spoil anything for me. I have not seen it yet.
I it's so hard not to. I mean,
I
okay,
know.
the most of the film itself was good. It was serviceable. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite Star Wars, but the last 10 to 15 minutes, I swear to God, so satisfying. I mean, I was in tears, just crying tears. We will talk about this when we come back at the beginning of the year because I'm
Yeah.
sure you will have seen it by then.
Oh yeah.
Damn, dude, it was so good. It was so good the last 15 minutes. Okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna say any more about it. Yeah. What was your game of the year? What was your game of the year?
Oh, I don't know.
I really
I
don't think you played a lot.
no, I mean I didn't play I mean kind of like you, I probably didn't play a lot of new stuff that actually came out this year. Strangely enough, this year I played lots of stuff that I kind of missed over the past several years. I went through a period during the era of the Wii and I don't know, probably like from 2007 to like 2013. There were like a bunch of games that I missed out on
Yeah,
playing or
same
even knowing
exact thing
about or
here.
didn't think about. So I mean, I played some older stuff that came out like a long time ago. I played some famous indie games and all that. Getting into being a designer or developer and um, but yeah, a lot of new stuff I just never touched. Uh, I was definitely impressed with Color Splash. I mean, it's weird that like that's basically the send off game for the Wii U, and it is unexpectedly good. I didn't get a chance to play Doom, although I have heard nothing but good things about Doom.
It's
Um,
very, very good, dude.
yeah,
If you had any interest at all in old school style shooters, Doom is your game. It's fast, frenetic, just crazy, just nothing but just blood and demons being blown up, and it's so fun because there's really no story, and the Doom guy mocks stories in games like as the game progresses. It's so good. Bethesda just did such a wonderful job with it, just such a brilliant job with it. But I'm sorry I cut you off. Let me let you continue.
I have nothing to continue with. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna have to get my game of the year for 2016 like next year. I'm gonna have to just go back and I'm gonna have to play everything I missed essentially. Come up with it later, I guess. It sucks,
Yeah,
but
and like a lot of things that came out for the Wii U this year, I was like, I mean, it's a fine game, but I'm not gushing over this. Like Star Fox Zero was a good game. I enjoyed it, but it had too many faults for me to even consider it. Minecraft Wii U edition, great game. I mean, it's Minecraft. I enjoyed it. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, what I played of it, it was really freaking weird and different, but it was still fun. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, even though it's a remake, I mean, usually I still consider remakes based on how much they change. They did alter a lot in this remake of the game, and it was fun. Twilight Princess has just never been my favorite Zelda. I still haven't even beat it. I really need to get back and do that, especially before Breath of the Wild comes out. I always make sure I'm caught up on Zelda before the next one comes out. I try.
that was another thing. This
Yeah.
this year was the first time I've ever played Wind Waker, believe it or not. Very first time I've ever played
Oh
Wind
my
Waker
god,
was this year.
so good. Did you please tell me you played the Wii U version of that?
I started with the HD edition. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, dude, that is one of the best remakes of all time. That is such a damn fine remake. The original game was already good, but that remake just pushed it to another level. It easily made it like my second favorite 3D Zelda for sure.
What's funny is
Ocarina
the
of Time
original
and
version of
yeah,
that is I was like like back in the day I was so uninterested in Wind Waker, and then I played it. I played the
they're
HD
just so
edition and it
different.
was like, wow, like this is really good. But
Yeah.
back in the day I was bored with it for some reason. Oh, it's weird.
That's one thing I will say about Nintendo. I mean, we may give them shit sometimes, but they are one of the only companies who, when they remake stuff, they go back and they fix things and they add stuff to make it worth the value. Like, I did not mind paying $50 for that game. There was so much that was altered about it and tweaked, and the game itself was completely like almost completely overhauled visually. It looks so good, and I know that's going to be a game that I replay for years to come. You know, there are maybe 3 Wii U games that that's gonna force me to keep my Wii U, and that's one of them. I mean, Wind Waker HD is just The break time. Break time.
Break time. It's a good idea. Yeah.
Break time is a good idea.
It's a good idea.
Break time is a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take out this first one. It says, what launch games will Jacob pick up at launch? I'm not. I'm not. It's not even gonna answer it. I'm literally would just say I'm not getting it. Stop asking. So yeah. Well, you know what? Whatever. I'll just leave it in. I'll just leave it in. Like I'll just leave that in. I'm not getting a Switch at launch, so I'm not.
You're gonna try, but they're probably gonna be sold out. But you might try.
I'm not. We've already discussed this.
I'm still trying to get NES Classic controllers. I'm still waiting for.
I've given up. I've just given up on that dream.
Yeah,
I have. Like every day without an NES Classic, when I cared, basically I woke up with that Florence and the Machine cover of Stand By Me that's in Final Fantasy 15. That's what I was thinking about whenever I didn't have one. You know, it was like, darling, won't you stand by me? And I was like, no, I won't, because I don't want an NES Classic anymore, because I'm bored of it. I don't know where I was going with that either. I just wanted to sing that beautiful, amazing cover of Stand By Me, by the way. If you have not heard it, please go look it up. It's so good. And I haven't played Final Fantasy 15 yet, aside from the demos, and I'm ashamed of myself, because it looks so damn fun. But yeah. Let's answer an actual question here. So, first question on the list. How do you rank the Wii U in comparison to other Nintendo consoles? I have always struggled with this type of question because the Wii U is such a mixed bag for me. I mean, it is a very weird console with a lot of good games, but nothing that I look at and I'm like, damn, that game is just perfect. Like, for that console. I mean, like we discussed earlier on the podcast, I mean, Wind Waker HD, in my opinion, is just pretty much as perfect as you can get. Yoshi's Woolly World is just a lovable, fantastic experience that everyone needs to have. Because if you're having a bad day and you play that game, you literally cannot be sad anymore. It's just so wonderful. And objectively, you cannot play a Yoshi game and be like, wow, I hate everyone right now. Because it's just so lovable and cute. Especially Woolly World. Yeah. And then Color Splash is just a very weird and just different game. I mean, those are the games I'm gonna keep my Wii U for sure. Just for sure. Everything else, it's like, it's good, but I've had this experience elsewhere before.
Well, so, I would put it.
I don't know.
I would put it equal with the GameCube, bizarrely, or maybe not so bizarrely. I'm not sure, but I would definitely. It would not be my favorite Nintendo console, and the reason I would keep mine is because I have a bunch of virtual console games that, like, this was the first console I actually got into virtual console for. So all my virtual console stuff is on there. If we end up having to buy new virtual console games for the Switch, which honestly I'm kind of expecting that we're gonna have to, I don't know, but we'll find out.
They're probably gonna change up the infrastructure so much, so we're gonna probably have to.
Yeah, and plus it's just that's what Nintendo's done historically. So, but anyway, yeah. So I'm probably gonna hang on to it for that reason. But yeah, as far as Nintendo consoles go, I would probably rank my favorite as like SNES, N64, and then probably third I would maybe do GameCube and Wii U kind of equal. Wii is like straight toward the bottom.
Yep. Wii is as far down as you could possibly go.
Yeah, I hate it.
I like every handheld more than I like the Wii. I like every Nintendo home console more than I like the Wii.
Well, actually, maybe the Virtual Boy would be at the very bottom. Virtual Boy might be bottom, below the Wii, maybe, but...
Oh, God, I forgot that that thing existed.
Yeah, that was a thing. That was real. That happened.
I think right next to the CDI, I will put the Wii. No, yeah. That's how much I don't like it.
Yeah.
I do love how I love the comments that we get every time we just bash the Wii's face in. It is just so fun. That console is just, I hate it. I hate it for more than its game library. Just I hate the mentality it gave Nintendo. And
Yeah.
just the hard, sloppy, wet dick they got when they sold 100 million copies of it. I just
Oh
hate
man.
that console so
A
much.
lot of people have nostalgia around the Wii though. It's really
I
weird.
know. I know. And I'm like, God, it's just not good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. People are entitled to their opinions, whatever.
It's because you have
Yeah.
kids that grew up with the Wii as like their console. It's just it's
Yeah.
really it's so strange to me. But
I know
yeah.
some people probably play SNES games and they're like, oh my God, this drivel is so shit.
Oh
And
yeah.
then
No
I
doubt.
get it. I get it. And that's kind of how I feel like with the NES. I found a lot of NES games to be just really boring, except for the really standout ones like Mega Man 2, Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, Ghost and Goblins. You know, there's a lot of great games for the NES, but
You
I
name
do
like
find them to be very outdated.
you end up naming like all 30 that are on the NES Classic or something. No, yeah, no. Well, the NES. Even whenever I was really young, I was not into a lot of the games on that console. So the
Yeah, I was the
SNES
same
just
way.
it did 2D gaming so well, and it was like it was just the bomb back then. It was
See, I was
awesome.
very into arcade games, and the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis got a ton of arcade ports. That's one reason why it's my favorite console, because I just love arcade games, and it's got that mentality on a lot of the game design. It has that mentality with it. That's one reason why I just love it so much. And then part of its bias, it was my first Nintendo console. You know, it was the first one like I bought with my own money, and I'll never give it away. I still have my awfully put together Super Nintendo box with like a big giant hole in the bottom right corner. I'll never give it away. It is worth literally 5 cents. I don't care. What was the question?
How
Don't
do
even
you rank
remember.
the Wii U in comparison to other Nintendo consoles? That was the
Oh, mine is very
question.
similar to yours. Mine, if it's just home consoles, mine's pretty much identical to yours. Super Nintendo, GameCube, then Wii U, then the N64. I don't know. I'm pretty much tied on the Wii U and N64 because the N64, in my opinion, has a lot more classics, but the Wii U, I think, has a lot more games that I'm interested in. I think if you took 10 games from the Wii U's library and 10 games from the N64 library, like the only 10 games I give a shit about on the N64, the N64 games are probably better, but there's just more on the Wii U that I'm like, these are good games. There's just none that like stand out because I usually classify a Nintendo console with its 3D Mario and its 3D Zelda, and that's why the Wii U has always felt lackluster to me. Because if we got like a good open world Mario game and its own Zelda game, which we still haven't gotten yet, I would have probably loved the Wii U. Like it's a weird mental thing. Whenever you think about a Nintendo console, like those are almost always the first two games that pop into your mind are the Mario game and the Zelda game. And the Mario game is Mario 3D World, which and then the Zelda game, we had two Zelda remakes, which are good. I mean, they're very good, but they're remakes.
Yeah.
So,
The only classic that I can really, well, there might be maybe two or three games that I think will become classics. One is Super Mario Maker because it was pretty important for the time, and of course that time is still right around now. But and then maybe Splatoon as well as a new IP and as
yeah,
something
Splatoon is
that
a
kind
very
of
good game.
uniquely utilize the gamepad and all that stuff. But other than
I
those
unfortunately just
two,
never got too into it, but Splatoon is a really good game. I don't want anyone
yeah,
to think I don't like it. It's
the,
very
the
good.
the majority of the games on the Wii U, though, I think were basically just competent games, but they were not. That there was not a lot there that you look back at it and you'll say like, oh, that's going to be a classic. At least not to me.
We talked about that a lot, and we got to get through other questions, so let's move on. Um, what is your favorite and least favorite major food restaurants? This is from our boy Dean, the Bean Mean Machine Boy. Um, wow, I don't
Major
know.
food restaurant?
I
Is that
guess like
like
chains. Like what is our least favorite and favorite chain restaurants? I'm gonna go with that.
mm,
My favorite chain restaurant probably Buffalo Wild Wings or
Oh, Buffalo Wild Wings is
or
pretty good.
CC's, because CC's just
CC's.
has that buffalo chicken pizza, man. It's just that one pizza. If it wasn't there, it's shitty, mediocre, plain $5 pizza. But it's so good. It's so good. Well, and their cheese bread's really good too. So yeah, but no, Buffalo Wild
Mm.
Wings is very good, very good.
Oh, well, I guess major chain. I know you don't have it there in Pennsylvania, but it's still pretty large, is Beck's Prime. One of the
Yeah, I've
best
never even heard of
burgers you
that.
could ever have, dude. So good. So good.
Hey, if I'm ever down there, I will. I'll give it a try.
Totally.
Always down for some grilled cow.
I'm trying to think what my least favorite is.
Papa John's, Papa John's, Papa John's, Papa John's, Papa
Probably
John's,
Papa
Papa
John's.
John's, Papa
Yeah.
John's, Papa
Yeah.
John's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll go with that. We'll go with Papa John's.
Papa John's sucks, Nathaniel.
It
Sucks.
really, it's no good. It's just no good. We can move on to the next question now.
That was fun. This is mainly for Scott though. What do developers mean when they say an architecture is easy or easier to work with than another? Like, why was the Wii U so annoying to program games for? Even the big companies like EA did. I'm mainly asking Scott this question because he knows his way around code. Well, thanks. I guess I'm just stupid. So Scott, you can answer this.
I'll try and answer this really briefly and without getting too stupid technical, but and I'm not a like a hardware architecture expert, but what I can tell you is that programming games when the hardware is different is always like if the hardware differs, generally the programming will differ a little bit, no matter how relatively similar. So like even when you build for a weak computer versus a strong one, you have to make changes to the game whenever you're wanting to support. Even it's like if you have a PC that has like an older NVIDIA card and then you have one that has a newer one. Even between those two cards, even though they're both NVIDIA, they're both like the same architecture hardware wise, you still have to optimize for that. So that's always a challenge, and that's always something that you have to contend with. In the case of the Wii U is a very very weird machine. It's a tri-core machine, which basically just means that it's outdated, especially at this point. It's
Yeah.
it's brutally underpowered. Honestly, I think that with like developers, you also have to think about like with every programmer you hire, even with it for a company like EA, you're looking at like probably an average of a $70 to an $80,000 salary plus their benefits. So that means that most programmers you hire for a game are going to be like $100,000 a piece. And if you need to hire like 5 or 6 of those people on a small team to just port it to a Nintendo console, that's 5 to 600,000 bucks for a full year's cost to that company. So like even in the case of EA, if they look at a Nintendo console, it's last place in the market, and they would have to pay like $600,000 potentially to make sure they support it on that platform. They're just not going to bother with it potentially, like at a certain point. I mean, it always depends on the situation, right? But like that's kind of what it comes back to. And yeah, I mean, when you have drastically different hardware that like executes code differently, dude, you have like an endless number of potential challenges, and you also got to pay for testing, because you got to go through and you got to test the entire game for all of that. And if you have a game that has 50 to 60 hours of gameplay, you got to hire an entire staff of testers for that as well. It becomes very expensive, and you got to look at like how much talent do you have to devote to moving on to another project, or supporting the existing platforms where the money is. It just all comes back to stuff like that. So that's why the big companies are ditching Nintendo in droves when it comes to stuff like the Wii U, or even even the DS is kind of a weird machine to develop for in a lot of cases with its super tiny resolution and stuff. So anyway, I think I've said enough about that, but that's a few things for you in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Um, Here is one from JV Province, and he or she says, I don't know. I don't want to assume your gender. What are your favorite video game and or movie sequels based on how well they expanded on the original in terms of story, gameplay, visuals, etc.?
I mean,
Cough, Portal
definitely
2, cough. That's what he said.
definitely Batman and Robin in terms of like movie sequels is by far gonna have to be.
Again, we've talked about this enough on the podcast, but again, I would like to hammer it home. Batman and Robin, so good. Just like really, really dug deep into who Robin was as a character. You can't fault the movie for that. Joel Schumacher, visionary, the Steve Jobs of directors in Hollywood.
Yeah. As a serious answer, though, Half-Life 2, dude, also by Valve, is just a fantastic sequel. And like, no wonder everyone is still waiting for Half-Life 3. Like,
it's not like one of my favorites, but Half-Life 2 is a good game. I'm just not too. I'm really not too into first-person games. I've gotten a little more into them this generation, just because there's a lot more like really interesting ones.
I wasn't into the first Half-Life, but Half-Life 2 made me a little bit interested in the first one in a way that like I didn't expect, and it was like it was just one of the only things I've seen story-wise where like it's a narrative, very much a story-driven game in a lot of ways, that really expanded on it in a way that I thought was just like 10 times better than the first game. I thought the first game, honestly, when I first kind of saw it, I thought it was kind of dumb, and then Half-Life 2 came along and I was like, wow, this is really ridiculously well done. So that would probably be one of my answers for that, one of my favorites.
Next question is, this is kind of a facetious question, but I'm actually going to answer it seriously. Do you like Kanye West? And this is from Grub Duke, which is a great name. I kind of do. And I know people don't want me to say that, but I'm also back in high school, and I actually used to listen to some older Kanye. I really don't like rap at all, though. But like Kanye's first album and his second album, he has always had these just really weird and interesting lyrics, and I like his people probably hate what I'm saying right now. I know, like his first few albums I actually kind of like, because they actually had some damn meaning to them, and he wasn't nearly as a douchey, like, I don't even know what to call him. Like, he wasn't nearly as up his own ass, like, about his personality as he is now. Like, he thinks he is a god now, and that's not right. But musically, I actually kind of like his older stuff, but I know his most controversial album was probably 808s and Heartbreak, and I actually really, really like that album. I still do. Like, I don't like him as a person, but I do like that album a lot.
Dude, you're like a Kanye West fan. Like, listen to you.
I'm not really a fan. Like, I can't stand his new shit. His new shit is just awful. And like him as a person, despicable. I don't like his old albums I like to a point, but 808s and Heartbreak, I think it was his fourth album, I'm a massive fan of. Like, even though he isn't like that great of a singer, I just, something about the ambient noises that he made during it, and the 808s, and just the overall dire tone of that album, something about it just kind of struck a chord with me. And I'm very much into electronic music, so that was just a really interesting and different album. No one else was doing anything like that at the time, and now everyone kind of took inspiration from that album and applied it to their own music, especially in the pop scene. But yeah, Kanye sucks as a human being, though, so don't think that I enjoy him at all. But his music I don't hate. He is probably one of the only rappers that I can stand. Otherwise, I like electronic poppy music. So yeah, and like indie music. I like some good classic rock too. Yeah.
My answer to the question is no. I do not like Kanye West.
That's what people wanted to hear. Yeah. Well, this is probably going to be the last one we answer today. Let's see here. What is the best non-Nintendo console? Also, Jacob, you're my fave. Oh, that's nice.
And there's a smiley face.
Yeah, there's a smiley face. I got hit on. You didn't get hit on, Scott. I did.
Whoever this is flirting with you. Oh, that's concerning.
I know, hardcore. It's because they know I'm a Kanye fan. That's why. Hey, yeah, they like Kanye too. Anyway, anyway, Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, best non-Nintendo console in my opinion, probably the PS2. Yeah, the PS2. I mean, damn, dude, that console had so many classics. I mean, Ratchet and Clank, God of War, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy X is fantastic. Um, Simpsons Road Rage. I mean, it played all the PS1 games. It was like the only console that I don't remember if the Xbox had a DVD player in it, but I know that the PS2 was like the first one that had a DVD player in it, so that like shot the world on fire. Um, just a lot of good games for that console. I have a lot of good memories playing that with my brother and my cousins.
I think. Well, I think when you say PS2, you're kind of just saying that's your favorite non-Nintendo console, right? Or in your opinion, like the most meaningful.
No, I think I think the PS2 is like the best non Nintendo console. Like it's the best and it is my favorite.
I like
And
I would
easily like the best selling, that's for sure. Holy
I would
shit.
I would yeah, well, definitely for sure. Like I would almost agree with that just on the basis of uh like everyone has a PS2 except for me, but like everyone else has a PS2 probably, and it sold an absurd number of units, and there's an absurd number of games for it. um yeah,
The
difficult to
Killzone
say.
trilogy, also good.
Yeah. I think that, man, it's so difficult for me to decide this. uh I might agree with PS2. Honestly, if I don't say PS2, I would probably say, like today, like these days, I would probably say PS4. But this is a really tough question to, because you could be talking about
Yeah.
like in all time. You could say, and I'm also like, I this also sounds really funny, but one of the first things I thought of, just because I really liked it back in the day, was the PSP. Just
Yeah, the
probably
PSP
just
is
because
fun
I
too.
like it, but like, and I had friends of mine who had it and stuff, and it was, in my opinion, kind of like the Vita. Like, there's certain ways in which those handhelds are really underrated. But yeah,
Also the
such a tough question.
PS1. Like the PS1 was so good. So good.
Yeah,
Like
well,
Metal
the
Gear's
the
oh man,
PS1
dude.
was just so important to like consoles in general. I would say, like, in terms of importance, non-Nintendo consoles, the first PlayStation is absolutely the most important console.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I completely agree with you on that. In terms of best, I would still say PS2. But that is followed very closely by the PS1 though. The PS1 did so much for gaming in general and really expanded like the entire market. And that is when gaming like started to explode. And in mid 90s when the PS1 came out, like it just blew up the market
I just
and
can't
then just expanded
believe
on it.
I can't believe that back in the day Nintendo had a chance to do the PlayStation and they bailed on it. At least that's
I
the
know.
story, right? I mean, like, I just can't believe that. It's so mind-boggling to think about that particular event in gaming history.
I think with that, I think that is a good place to wrap up. I think that was a solid last end of the year podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, because that is all. Would you like to tell the people where you come from on the internet? What do you do?
Hopefully by now you know exactly where to find me. But if this is your first time listening, welcome. We will be back in the new year. You can find me on Twitter at Scott Lee and on my website, scottfreecapital.com.
Yes, and me, if this is also your first time listening, this is your first Digicades video, also welcome. Thank you for sticking by with us. You can find me at Indie Jacob on Twitter, and I'm doing Indie Jacob stuff on YouTube now, so go check out all of our recent videos, and yeah, I hope you all have a grand day, and have a good Christmas.
Have a good Christmas. Have a happy new year.
Yeah, we'll see you in like 2 weeks, so goodbye.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.